of money in a plate, I guess that's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise sitting back in a muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle in the wind that'll get you heaven bound. The devil went down to Georgia, but he didn't stick around. This is God's country.
Oh, he's got the belt. I like it. He's got the belt.
Week's done. We take a break and break bread.
Hey,
on Sunday,
welcome,
then
welcome,
go
welcome.
again.
Welcome to this month's virtual Reco. We're just going to kick it off because we got the man. I don't know what country he's in. We got different countries on here. We got some folks from Bulgaria, from Canada.
Love it.
I mean, and then we've got the CEO and one of your senior partners here, Mark Nielsen. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of this team. I've had the pleasure of, growing a lot of teams from the ground up, and Steve knows that well. And man, this is the most excited I've ever been growing a team. And we've done nothing yet compared to where we're going, but we're about to blow the roof off this thing. Y'all, if you wouldn't mind unmuting and please welcome your CEO, Mr. Steve Greer, to the Zoom. I don't know how we convinced him. I don't know how we did it. I mean, we tricked his assistant. We got him in here, but he's here, ladies and gents. So I'm going to highlight him. Mr. Greer, hey, it is so good to see you.
So good to see you guys. And I tell you what, the most exciting part of my job is when I actually get to spend time with the field force. There are a lot of other duties that I have that are not near as exciting and near as fun. So I'm just super excited to get to spend 30 minutes with you guys instead of talking to a bunch of corporate people, if you will, about stuff that isn't near as exciting as the field. So for those of you that don't know, I started out as an agent back in 2001 and have kind of worked my way from SA, GA, MGA, RGA, eventually became an SGA. Did that for 12 years. In 2016, I moved to Dallas, sold those agencies to a couple of guys and moved to Dallas, became the president of the company. And then in 2018, took over as the CEO, and I'm in my 8th year as the CEO of the company. So that's the background. And the only reason I mention that is, I'm really proud of at American Income, whether it's Nick, Mark, or Rick, everybody who's talking to you all the time, or any of the partners, James, Rob, Vinny, excuse me, any of those guys, everybody, we've all come from the same place. And that's a really, really critical part of our business, because this is a show me business. This is a lead from the front, lead by example. And American Income, in my opinion, leaders only do two things. Either they A, write business, or B, recruit and train people to write business. It's that simple. So anyway, before I get started with my message, what I want to just tell you guys is I believe in your life, you will probably, this is my opinion, this isn't the gospel or anything, but I believe you will probably only have 2 or maybe 3 incredible opportunities present themselves to you in your life. And most people fail to capitalize on those opportunities for 2 reasons. One, they don't have the money. I mean, how many of us wish we would have bought Amazon stock when it was $1, or Walmart stock or whatever when it was $1, or Tesla when it was $1? If we would have just put in $1,000, we wouldn't even be on the call. We'd be laying on the beach sipping Mai Tais, right? Maybe counting our money or something. I don't know, but we didn't, right? So here we all are. We couldn't see the future, and most people just don't have the money. The other one is people don't recognize They don't recognize the opportunity, and meaning it's there, but it's disguised in some way, shape, or form. And I believe this happens to a lot of people at American Income because this opportunity is amazing, and we're going to talk about that, but it's disguised with hard work. You know what I mean? It'd just be so easy if we put our money on red or black and bang, we're all rich. You know what I mean? But this is like that get rich for sure, but it is sort of the slow way. But what I think is incredible about that is the person that you become to be able to handle the success and the wealth when you get it. How many of us know of people that get drafted and maybe they get a big NFL contract and maybe they're out of the league in 3 years and they might have made $30 million, but they're broke? How many people know the story of Mike Tyson that made over $400 million in his career? And he talks about blowing through all that money. So the beautiful thing is the process weeds out the weak and develops you to have the character that you need to be able to handle what's coming your way. So I believe in order to maximize opportunity, first thing you got to do is you got to find the right opportunity. And there are a couple of things that wealthy people do that poor people don't do. Now, I'm qualified to talk about poor people because I grew up poor. Started out in inner city housing projects, government cheese, powdered milk, 1 of 5 kids. When I think about government cheese, it makes my mouth water. Okay, just thinking about it. Okay. And but there are a couple of things my parents told me the reason why we're poor is because we don't get the good jobs, and we don't get the good jobs because we're not educated. So go get an education and everything will be great, Steve. You'll get wealthy. Well, what happens when you get too much education, you end up with a job because you think you need to use it. Like you get a nursing degree, you think you need to be a nurse. And I'm not saying it. Look, we need nurses, and I love nurses. My sister's a nurse, makes a great income, $100,000 a year. But there are people on this phone call that couldn't, literally couldn't pay 1 month's taxes on my sister's annual salary. Wealthy people don't trade hours for dollars. Wealthy people do 2 things that poor people in my family don't do. Number 1, they learn how to leverage time. We have an opportunity where you can take and master your craft, learn your skill, but then through the process of duplication, you can leverage time. Mark Nielsen only has 168 hours in a week. Nick Skordos only has 668 hours in a week, right? And we all got to sleep, right? We need a little bit of time for family and things like that. But how cool is it that if Mark's willing to work 50 hours and teach 10 other people how to work 50 hours, he has 500 hours going into his business. See, if you're out trading hours for dollars, you punch in, you punch out. That's the only way you're ever going to make money. Could you imagine if companies actually paid? What they do is they steal your dream for 60, 70, 80 grand a year. And then they have you teach everybody else how to do something to build their dream, to pay their shareholders, not to build your dream in your business for your family. The other thing wealthy people do is they learn how to not just leverage time, but also leverage money. And this is interesting. Remember, wealthy people don't work. They hire people to work. Y'all with me? So what wealthy people do is, how incredible is this an opportunity where you have the same opportunity that Elvis Presley had? When you cut the record one time, you get paid every time the song's played. In fact, you make more than when you're dead than when you were alive. Can you imagine Elvis Presley's estate today makes more money today than when he was alive? You have that through lifetime vesting of renewals, where you can go out and make the sell and get paid over and over and over again. I love it because I think the first thing you have to, this book that changed my life, you don't need to read this. I'll give you the highlights. But like in 1995, most of y'all weren't born. I read this book by a guy. His name was Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich. One of the things he said in that book, there were 3 things that I'll never forget that he said. The first thing was this: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So you've got to think of it, and then you've got to actually believe that it can be done, whether it's walking on the moon, whether it's building an agency that can do 20 million a year, 50 million a year, Mark, Nick, 100 million a year for AO. By the way, I better just stop and tell you guys how blessed you are to be part of not only AO, but like I get around to a lot of different agencies. You guys are incredibly blessed to be on Team AO. Okay. But even inside of AO, I believe you're on the best of the best of the best inside of AO. So AO likes to talk about how special AO is in terms of American Income Life, and they are super special. But everybody on this call, you guys are on like Team Nielsen here inside of Team Scordo. This is incredible. This is a fantastic team. Incredible team. People of character and that. But that was the first thing he said was, you've got to believe it. That's the whole thing. If you guys actually think that when I started as an agent, I believed I was going to be the CEO, I'm not going to try to pull one over on you guys. Okay. I was just trying to learn the script and basically stop from throwing up when I started, because I was like just so nervous I was going to say the wrong thing. I would just throw up, brush my teeth, and go be the top producer. Okay. Literally every day for 10 months, throwing up, going and being the top producer. How crazy is that? I didn't believe, but I knew I could be the best agent or do my best to be the best agent, and then things progress. You've got to believe, and I'm going to show you in a second how to believe. But the second thing he said in that book that I'll never forget was this: whatever obstacle beats you defines you. I'm going to show you how you can, quote unquote, get rich for sure at American Income Life through Opportunity Unlimited. But whatever it is, back in the day, a flat tire would just, people would spin out mentally. I'm quitting. I can't handle another flat tire. There are big men with giant muscles in this business. They work out every day, you guys. And literally, do you want to know what defines them? They can't pick up an 8-ounce phone. I just can't make another call. It's so hard. It's so hard. The phone's so heavy. I can't get it up, Mark. Listen, if making a few phone calls and getting a few no's is going to keep you and your family from accomplishing all your life's dreams and goals, I think it's a sad day. Whatever obstacle it is, it could be a health challenge, you guys, which in my opinion are probably about the only really, really bad things. But as long as we have the right outlook and the right hope for the future that we're going to beat that, we've always got to be looking ahead with a positive attitude. Don't let any obstacle beat you or it defines you. The last thing he said is he talked about a mastermind alliance. And essentially what this is the people that you surround yourself with. And that's why I believe Nick Scordos and Mark Nielsen are the people that you want to hitch your wagon to. You're looking for honesty, integrity, and people that you can trust. If you're going to build a business, you want to make sure you're linked up with people that operate with integrity at the highest level. Stick around. These guys will prove to you over and over and over again that they are who they say they are. They will be there for you. And you want to make sure you have those kind of people in your life. There were times I had to remove a few people temporarily from my life. Some of them were my family. My family, they're like crabs in a bucket. You try to get out of poverty, they just want to pull you back down in the bucket. They're like, you're talking different. You're thinking different. Yeah, the kind of stuff I was learning in some of these books I was reading, the people I were hanging out with, I'd never heard anybody say that. All we did was go to work, sit around and complain all day about our job while they weren't paying us enough. Wondering what the wealthy people were doing. Get around and stay around and form an MMA, Mastermind Alliance. I can tell you, I spend a lot of time with the partners, with James and Rick and Rob and Vinny. These guys are the deal. And I just would say nothing if I didn't mean it. They are good. Are they perfect people? No. Nick and Mark aren't perfect. These guys are good people. They got the right heart. They got the right level of integrity, character, etc. It's literally the kind of people you want to hitch your wagon to. So let's talk vision for a second. I want you guys to break this down and think about this. If I went out and I made a sell, and I'm just an agent, let's say it's 1,000 ALP. I sell a whole life with a term rider. I sell final expenses with income protection. 1,000 ALP, I get paid bonuses and commissions. But in year 2, if that policy stays on the books, the company owes me a 3% commission as an agent. That's $30 for year 2. You're not retired. But think about this with me for a second. We all know that one sell a day keeps the negative away. Who would agree? One sell a day keeps the negative away? Yeah. I mean, just like, because the first thing that happens is my wife's significant other friends are, how did it go? And you just want to be, oh yeah, made a sell, no big deal. Right? So, Mark, let's say we're working 5 days a week. There's 50 weeks in a year, 2 weeks for vacation. We make 250 sales. 80% are still on the books. 20% fall off for various reasons. People die, people move, people, whatever, change jobs, careers, divorce, whatever happens, die, right? They don't pay anymore if they're dead. Now we have 200 policies that are left over. 200 policies times $30 in my example is $6,000. That's about $500 a month. Raise your hand if you're following me so far. Okay. I throw it out like this. I've never worked anywhere before American Income. If I added $500 to your car payment, most of you would be driving what you want instead of what you can afford. Would you agree? For some of you guys, you're not like me. You're not handsome enough like Mark, and I don't have the great hair like Mark, and well, Nick really doesn't have the great hair. But we need a little something extra to make us a little more handsome. And I promise you, you add $500 to your car payment and you're driving the right car, you're just a little more handsome than you would be otherwise. You know what I mean? You just look a little more attractive in general. The ladies are laughing because they're like, he's right. You know what I mean? But imagine this. Imagine we did this for 3-4 years. Here's what blows my mind. Let's say 4 years goes by, you never got promoted, you never trained another agent, you never got into leadership, and you got $2,000 a month to come in. Now, all of a sudden, your biggest bill, your number one bill, your house, your rent, where you stay, your number one bill is covered. I used to think that in order to appreciate or live Opportunity Unlimited, that I had to be here and have some big SGA contract, literally 4 years. Do you understand what happens all of a sudden when your house payment is paid? You can go on vacation and leave the city limits. How many people like me grew up, the term wasn't invented, but your parents are like, we're doing a staycation. How many of you guys are tired of having a virtual background of some beautiful exotic location and would love to actually go on the field trip to take a selfie to be able to post? Yeah. You know what I mean? How many of y'all would like to help your grandma with her prescription drugs? How many of you would like to be the secret Santa for your nieces and nephews when your brother loses his job? See, in order to help other people out, you got to help yourself out first. And you've got to understand that you don't have to be anything special at American Income because renewals are a byproduct of business on the books. Mark, Nick, there's this new deal. You aren't going to believe it. It's pretty cool. So remember, business on the books, you get a renewal check. We got a brand new program. See if y'all can follow me on this. We'll let you write $100,000 a year for 10 years. We'll let you write $250,000 a year for 4 years, $500,000 a year for 2 years, or you can write $1 million a year in 1 year. We'll still pay you the same renewals the following year. We have 3 guys last year that wrote over $1 million. A couple of them were out of AO. 3 or 4 more will do it again this year. Those guys are going to receive just off of that business over $30,000 additional money in just renewal money from the work they did last year. Imagine what happens, Mark, after you do that for these guys for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they've got 150 extra grand a year coming in if they don't hit a lick. Do you all understand the power of the opportunity that you have your hands on? Do you really understand that you could change generationally the entire direction of your family? The Bible says a man not only takes care of his children, but he takes care of his kids' kids. I ain't trying to get religious on y'all. I told my kids, the verse doesn't actually say take care of your kids. It says take care of your kids' kids. Y'all can look that up later. I told my kids, my goal is to die broke and make the last check bounce on you. But I'm going to make sure your kids are taken care of through a generational trust at the second level. How cool is it that our renewals have literally are willable to our estate? I haven't been an SGA for over 8 years and will receive close to $1 million this year for the work I did when I was in the field. How incredible is that? Is that exciting? I have not sold a policy, Mark, in 8 years. And those renewals keep coming in. Is this not the best opportunity in the world? Do you want to know why and how I know it is? I've had 2 cousins that retired as SGAs, multimillionaires. My dad started with the company as an MGA at 55 years old. Today, he still receives over a $9,000 a month renewal check. He's 71, still getting a $9,000 a month renewal check. 3 years ago during COVID, my daughter got started. She's an MGA today. 2 months ago, my son graduated from college. I said, hey, man, go out there and get yourself a job. He said, heck no. I've been following Mark on Instagram. I got to get in on this AIL thing. You know what I mean? I want to be, he's like, I see David Carpenter. I see Mark. I see literally all of them, Josh Olin and Chris Hines and all everybody. And he's like, Dad, why in the world would I go anywhere else and work for somebody else? And I said, well, I thought maybe you needed to go get a job to really appreciate American income. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm ready to rock. Wrote 20 grand his first month out last month. Hey, he's going through all the same struggles that everybody on the phone, everybody on the call today has. Daddy can't call his leads. I can't give him the special leads. I can't pick up referrals for him. But you know what he did do? And I just want to throw this out to you. He asked, Dad, what are the 2 secrets to the business? Number 1, write this down, referrals. You've heard that a million times. And number 2, personal recruiting. He said, why? I said, well, why not pick your own team? So when he got started, he had to start as a GA. Why? Because a semester before him, 3 of his fraternity brothers graduated. He recruited all those, put them under his sister, and one of them was an SA by the time he got started. What do you mean your pipeline can have a pipeline, Mark? Oh, your pipeline can have a pipeline. I like that. The most incredible opportunity. If you're looking for this opportunity, number 1, you need to pick the right company. And I know you guys love AO, and you should, but AO is hitched up with a global brand. Globe Life will spend tens of millions of dollars this year to promote your brand. Partnered with the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, the Atlanta Braves, FC Dallas soccer team. Hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts are being invested so that when you are with your clients, when you are recruiting new people into the business, they know that you're with a top-notch, multi-billion-dollar company. Globe Life paid over $1.8 billion last year in claims. $1.8 billion. Break that down in $15,000 funerals, you guys. That's a lot of families that were impacted because of the hard work and the job you guys do. You know, nothing happens unless we take care of our clients first, right? How nice is it that you don't have to worry about those claims being paid when you're talking about final expenses, you're talking about freedom of choice, knowing that the most number 1 recognized brand in the funeral home industry today is freedom of choice. You want to know why? Because in March, you guys literally put over 100,000 new families enrolled in our products and services. We average around 75,000 new families every single month. Right place, right time, right opportunity. Guys, literally think about this. Mark, it took 70 years for the company to put $1 billion on the books. Nick, in the last 5 years, we did the next $500 million. This fall, the SGAs are celebrating. 5 years ago, we did the $1 billion dinner, Mark. It took 70 years to celebrate the first one. This fall at the AO meeting, the SGA meeting, we are celebrating the $1.5 billion dinner. Do you know what that means, Mark? Nick, that means American Income Life right now is paying out 50% more renewals than it did 5 years ago. And it took us 70 years to get to that level. Some of you guys have been praying for an opportunity. Literally in the last 5 years, the company went from 7,000 agents to almost 11,000 agents. It took 70 years. When I met Rick and Mark did a visit, and literally it was 2001, him and his partner at the time, they did $8 million that year. $8 million. If in his wildest dreams, knowing Rick, he was thinking it. But I have to tell you, I wasn't thinking. I was an agent when Rick visited my office, literally a little over 20 years ago. He was doing $8 million, and I thought that was a huge deal back then. Our agency did about $5 million that year with my cousin. And for you guys to blow through $100 million this year, guys, what you have going on and what we have going on inside this company, the amount of money that we're able to give back in the communities that we serve, we support working families, everything that we're able to do as a company is because of what you guys on this team, this screen right now are doing. I believe right place, right time, right company, right opportunity. Everything right now is lining up. I believe in your life, you're going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 opportunities present themselves. Don't let this one slide through your fingers. I think that you can totally change the trajectory of your family, as I have, and my cousins have, and my father has, and my children have, if you understand what you have your hands on. I tell people there is nothing worth risking this opportunity over what it has done for my family. So thousands of families. Not only do we have a lot of fun, one of the cool things about both Nick and Mark that I have on the screen here is like we've grown up together. We've raised kids. Well, Mark's now getting in the kid business. Me and Nick, we've had kids together. Nick, how crazy it is to see my kids get in the business. I didn't plan on that. I promise you guys. Didn't plan on that. You can't plan that kind of stuff. In fact, I did the exact opposite. That's what a good closer does, Mark. It's the takeaway. You don't want to do this, right? Yeah. So anyway, I'm just glad you guys cut out 30 minutes. I could do this for 2 hours with you guys. Hey, I mean, I could literally do this for 2 hours with you guys.
I have chills. I don't know if anyone else on the screen's got chills, but I got chills for crying out loud. Listen, before we let Steve Greer go, Mark and I would like to present something to a special individual that we brought into the business 7 short months ago. He's deployed right now in Bulgaria. And in 7 short months that he's been partnered with us, he has flew through the ranks through 11,000 agents. And he is now the number 3 personal producer in the world. Unmute and celebrate your SummerSlam champion, Austin Timmons. Let's go, baby.
Sweet. Congratulations, Austin. I see you down there.
So we're going to spotlight you. Hey, Steve, I know that Austin knows the family and Austin. And
yep.
Hey, listen, Steve, if there's anyone else in Texas that you would like to refer to our team
Yeah,
Because we got a pretty good success story here with Austin. Now, listen, Austin,
man.
I can't say enough great things about him, his character, the father that he is, serving the country, husband, just an absolute pleasure to work with. I've worked with a lot of sharp guys. Mark's worked with a lot of sharp guys. And, Austin is just a different breed. And so, Steve, I'd love for you to say a couple words. And then, Mark,
Yeah.
for you to say a couple words to Austin, as he's currently deployed right now in Bulgaria, coming back tomorrow.
That's cool.
Thank the Lord. But
So
Steve,
cool. Yeah, first thing I just got to say is just thank you for your service. I mean, that you guys, that we're able to do every day what we do is because people like Austin, go out and do what they do. And I don't take that for granted. And so I just on a personal level, Austin, really, really appreciate that. The second thing is this: I expect nothing less than this out of Austin. First off, the kid's got great genetics. He's like a great grandkid of mine. You know what I mean? Through agency building passed down, and he cut his teeth in American Income in part of the agency that I left behind. And the last thing that I'll say is this, Austin, I literally know that the sky's the limit for you, that anything that you want to do, you can do, and staying linked up and having a mastermind alliance with guys like Mark and Nick. You need these type of people in your life, because you're going to have massive success, a massive amount of money. And we all need people to keep us on the rails, so to speak, to keep us lined up. And the leadership that you have with these guys is literally, you're not going to find any better. You're just not going to find any better. And so congratulations on I'm looking down at the box. I should be looking at the camera, but congratulations on what you've done. But I expect it out of you. You've been a superstar from the day that you started, and this is the place where you get to showcase your talent and your ability and your work ethic. And that's really what separates the good from the great in this company, is the level of work ethic that you've had. So keep rocking, baby. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you.
Nick, is it okay if I say something?
Absolutely.
Just real quick. Guys, I don't think you understand. You have the CEO of the company on this call. This is the most intimate call I've ever had with Steve Greer, besides when I hit top 10, or if I'm like an awards person, or if he invites me to the leadership council and we get to rub shoulders and talk about the company. So I hope you guys feel really lucky today. That was such an inspiring speech for me, because it like kind of just hits home again of like where you started, like when I started 14 years ago, where I was at in my life, when I was a new agent, what I struggled with, what I thought, how big I was thinking, and I wasn't thinking big at all, but I thought I was, and people telling me one day that my renewals would pay my bills. I was like, okay, I'm sure that will happen. And guys, now like everything, all my personal expenses are paid through renewals now. I was able to buy my mom a car last month with my renewal check. That was the coolest feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. It's something you talk about, one day you want to take care of your parents, but people like you guys, where you're at right now, are the people that are going to be running the company in a very short time. When Steve met Rick, he wrote $8 million. Our agency wrote over that last year. We wrote over that 3 years ago. Think about that. That means that this agency can do $100 million and not that long from now. When Nick Scordo's son starts working for us, right? Then we'll doing 100 million, but probably a lot sooner than that. But I hope you heard who you work for. You work for Globe Life. I hope you heard who the leaders are here through Rick and through Steve and through Nick. And you guys get to rub shoulders with people like this that really have done it before, been in the field, went out there and produced, do it in front of you guys unmuted. Nick is out there. I texted him this morning. I'm like, you're 170,000 away from that $1 million club. Nick is climbing to that. He's going to hit it this year. That's your RGA. That's your leader. You have Austin Timmons in a different country jumping on. I don't know what time it is over there. It's probably midnight. He's probably has a lot of other things he has to do before he takes off. And he's on here because he wanted to be here with you. And so I hope that inspires you. I'm really inspired today. Thank you, Steve, for taking your time to be on here. Thank you, Nick, for organizing that. I don't know how you organize that, but Nick definitely has some pull or something. And how cool is it that Mr. Greer is 3 generations deep in his family in American Income now? And it reminds me of the Altigs too, right? And the Greers. You can leave a legacy. I think of my son Jude. I'm like, man, will he want to sell insurance one day? That would be really crazy if he started with Globe Life, right?
Yeah.
But that's the opportunity that we have, is even if he doesn't do it, my renewals are going to take care of him, and my whole family and my generations have changed. I think most of us kind of grew up very similar in life, you know, being on this call, being driven, being hungry. And this is the opportunity Steve talked about, the one of the two that you're probably going to get in your life. And I didn't realize how amazing it was when I started. You probably don't realize it because no one thinks they're going to do insurance their whole life. But this is the opportunity. This is the one. And we got to go prove that every single day to ourselves, most importantly, to our families, and also to these leaders that are out there really trying to help us. Let's go give it back to Nick Skordos for being that guy that's on there anytime we want him to be. Let's go give it back to Austin Timmons for out there leading the charge and showing us what's possible each and every day. And let's make sure we thank Mr. Greer for jumping on and spending time with us when he has a million other people to talk to and he has a huge company to run and he's talking to us. So thank you guys. Thank you, Mr. Greer, for being on here. Thank you, Nick, for organizing this. Austin, thanks for being the guy that you are. I'm excited to see you be number 1 at the end of this year. Number 3 is great. I remember being number 3. It's okay. Number 1 felt a lot better. I'm excited to cheers for you being number 1 and passing all those guys here when you come back tomorrow. But guys, this is amazing. I hope you can soak this in. And the thing I'll tell you guys is let's go execute it today. Yep. Like, don't wait. Don't be like, that was cool. It felt really good. Awesome. I'm going to go eat some lunch and forget about it and go back to my normal. Today's the day. Change your habits today. Change your mindset today. Execute it today and go give Austin a little run for his money. So Austin, we're so proud of you, man. Let's get up for Austin.
Austin,
job,
say
Austin.
a few words, bro.
Yeah. I appreciate all the love.
Hey,
it's
Nick,
so good to see you.
Austin, I got my
Yeah.
11:30. I got to jump on. I'm a little late for it. Congratulations to everybody. I got to run. So good spending time with you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
See you
Thank
soon, Austin. Great
Thank
job,
you.
buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's go, Austin. Say a few words, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate all the love and support. You know, I'm nothing but grateful. As far as the belt goes, you know, that belt, first of all, looks sick. It's super customized to me. But in the reality of this situation is in this past month, you know, I was only able to work, I think, a week out of that month, and there really wasn't that much business that's dropped. So I think everybody needs to take a hard look into themselves and just think, if there's a person, I don't know if you guys think like this, but I know I do, is that when someone's getting more results or better results than me, I ask myself a couple of questions. And one of them is, do I think that person's a better individual or a better person than me? And if you have any type of competitive drive, the answer to that should be no, because I'm nothing special. Nobody on this call is anything special. These gifts that you look at some people, like when I look at Nick and I look at Mark, that they have, that was just earned through a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears. And other than that, it wasn't given to them. The only thing that was given to them was this life and this opportunity, which they chose to take advantage of. Right. So I think that this next competition coming up, everybody should look at themselves and go the extra mile. If you're not at your mark by Friday, work Saturday, work Sunday. And then if you are at your mark by Friday, make the choice on whether you want to go above and beyond or you just want to stay where you're at. So, I mean, I love all the recognition and I appreciate it. But, you know, I don't want to be recognized for some things that I haven't done yet, which it is to be the number 1 producer. I don't like to be number 3. It doesn't have a good ring to it. Thank you for the kick in the ribs, Mark. I appreciate it. And we'll be back at it, you know, harder than ever. We'll finish out this year strong. Next year's the year I'm really looking forward to. But I will take that belt and I will put it on my my dresser.
Yes. Hey, y'all, listen, if you wouldn't mind unmuting, clap it up for the SummerSlam champion, number 3, soon to be number 1 producer in the world. Let's go. Hey, listen, I don't have anything to add to that. The only thing that I want to tell you is this is what I live for. I love this company. I love spending time with you all. And I've never been more secure in my decision of joining this team, joining this company, building this family right alongside you, Mark, and the leaders here, and Austin, and you know, with this beautiful company. And so with that being said, this is just the beginning. Chairman's Month is around the corner. We're going to break records and make memories. and do it all with a lot of class and a lot of fun. With that being said, y'all, hey, listen, it's 12:39 Eastern Standard Time. That's our time today. The next time that we get the CEO on the call, I want everybody on this shared spotlight screen. Let's get after it. Let's crush it. Let's go serve and protect families at the highest level. Appreciate you. Mark, do you want to send us off?
AL, let's grow, baby. Woo!
Go. Woo.